our attention has been brought to something very interesting. House leaders to meet over gender bill. So there's a chance that Parliament will be dissolved if they don't come up with mechanisms to ensure the two-thirds gender rule is implemented. They went to court to try to overturn it. The court stood its ground. Therefore, they need to come up with a mechanism. But before we get into that, we're going to discuss that in just a bit. Let's go back to page 5. Why Uhuru is losing Mount Kenya MPs to Ruto and whether he's losing grip. And I'll start with you, Honorable Elachi. Easy, in your view, losing grip?
The president? No, the president hasn't lost grip in Central. You know,
but you see his own MPs into two groups.
So what is the presidency? You know, one of the things I don't understand about the whole process is that people have forgotten the person who opened the doors for Central Province for my deputy president is the president. And I'll tell you today, the president himself in 2016 said, let us support my deputy. He has to go to Central. I don't need to be there. Now, if they are taking advantage of his goodwill, that now you can now start making it a political tool to say the president has lost his grip. So then let us see. See, we have now celebrated, we have won CG by elections, CG believed it. Try your best in 2022 and enter. Let us, we are talking about tribal. Try your best. Enter there as a leader who is not from that region to tell them now wake up and go and vote for someone. Try.
You know, for me.
Because you're joking. I mean, we are trying to look at the president's trust, goodwill, and we take advantage. And now we start politicizing. Everything he's trying to be gentle or no, you politicize.
You know, for me, I can tell
Central Province will never lose their son. Never. Never. That one I'll tell you, and I'm from Western, how? Musalia tried taking a deputy from there. They just say, why is it that even Honorable Kioni could not vote for him? I mean, let's be honest. It can never happen. And I want to tell any political leader, you cannot go in a backyard of a political leader and to go in Nyanza and decide now to instigate people that they can vote. You go in Ukambani and say, oh, Kalonzo is a no. It doesn't work in Kenya. So Central Province is solidly behind their president. They will have their issues, and I like them. They are saying, look, you have left us. We are business people. We are suffering. Who has made them suffer in the business? They are competing within the same business with the same people who I see here. So now they are wondering, where is everything that we got during Kipaki's time? How can you just go? Those are the issues they are raising, critical issues. But losing the backyard from their son, never.
You know, me, I want to be very clear with you. They are our neighbors. Don't be lied by anybody.
So he still has his grip.
Oh, I'm telling you, they are our neighbors.
So this separation between the MPs, of those who believe that the DP should rise to power in 2022.
They are behind His Excellency.
I think Central
His
Province,
tribes people, the Central Province, Central Province will never leave their own. They might be having some business issues. You know, anyone has got business issues and all that. But at the end of the day, birds of a feather.
I think Central Province is bigger than the members of parliament that we see. But it is true from what's being exhibited that the president does not seem to have too much of a hold on the members of parliament from Central Province. But the members of parliament are just the members of parliament, and they are not the people of Central Province. So I think when push comes to shove, Central Province will remain with the president, and the members of parliament who do not play ball or who have shown that they're not supporting the president, I believe and I'm sure will be shown the door. So what it is now, as we see, is there are members of parliament of Jubilee from Central Province who are looking like they are not with
So you don't think Dr. Ruto is cutting his own unique cloth from Central?
With the members of parliament, you know, members of parliament are individuals,
With members of
the
parliament.
people are the people. And guess what? The people are more than these MPs. And guess what? It is the people who vote in this leader. So you can go away with the MPs, but the people will remain with the president.
Let me tell you, the way Raila is strong in Nyanza is the way Uhuru is strong in Central, and it's the same way Kalonzo is strong in Ukambani. You can't just come there and nyef and say that you're going to, you know, you can take over power or you can take part of Ukambani from Kalonzo. You're wasting your time.
It's the same way, my DP. You cannot go in Rift Valley and do anything. without my DP. So can the four leaders start respecting each other and feel that it is important
and work together as a team.
Appreciate. If it was not this leader, how would you have gotten the people first of all? Now let us go back. That's why I was saying, we said we want to talk candidly. Now let us go back to 2007. Because who convinced Central Province that indeed we can work with my deputy? Who convinced? It's the same president, Honorable Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. And for him to convince them, you should understand he's a leader that they listen to. Because they had a lot in their hearts that they could not believe. And if you ask them even today, they could not believe.
That was it.
And there's no I mean, I'm saying 2007. After the post-election violence, who would have imagined? So let us not lie and cover. We are covering.
The problem is business. And they know where they are losing their business. The problem here is business.
And
people are complaining about business. You know, we are not doing business as we used to do business. What is happening? You know, that is the biggest problem they have. And I'm sure if they look around, they'll get answers.
Honorable Elachi, given that the example you've given of 2007, that was when one would say President Uhuru Kenyatta's DP had a bromance situation. Is that the case right now, their relationship? Despite the fact that Honorable Murkomen is saying that they're inseparable. But we've been seeing Jubilee has its own in-house struggles.
One of the things...
2007, the two were not together.
No, I'm saying, when you look at the post-election violence, you would imagine the hatred that people had. And I'll give you another example, that there is no way you would tell me that the president cannot come out and say, we have done wrong here, and I need you people to understand we must rectify the wrong. And I think that is the message of the president. He has not said, I hate my DP. He has not said, I am not supporting. He is telling my DP, support me to have a clean country for 2022. If you want to really say you want to go into even just convincing Kenyans to elect you.
So his words were not support me, really. His words were, I will fight corruption even if you're my closest political ally.
Of course, that is now on corruption. But there are other things. This is a presidency, you are there. Really, and I just want to plead to the leaders. When the presidency, the president, who I know, we read the Bible. This is a man who has been anointed by God to lead God's people who are like 45 million. Well, La Rosa will feel I'm joking. The moment you are sent into power, even her, she's in power. It is God who has
What's the current state of their relationship?
It is not her will and her chest and her money. No, it is God.
What's the current state of their relationship with the issue of corruption as well?
It is good as long as you understand what the president wants is to give Kenyans what Kenyans are asking him. And anyone who doesn't support him in that, even if it is you at home, when you're talking to your children and you're like, we have done wrong as a family, we need to change. Really, the children will listen to the father.
Sylvia is incredibly quiet on this.
No, I like listening to this debate of the president and the DP. But I would say the same thing that has been said here. I don't think the president is losing grip of Central. And Honorable Wavinya has said it very clearly. Whether we like it or not, we have leaders who are strong in their regions, and there's no way that is going to change. Whether you want to say we vote tribally, on tribal lines, or whatever you want to call it. I think this is our country, and we have to be candid. We have to be absolutely candid about that. But something also Honorable Rosa said here, democracy. Anyone has a right to go and seek votes anywhere. It's their, it's their absolute constitutional right. So I don't see anything wrong if he has amassed a few people who, who will support him. It's fine. It's his right. But that does not mean that an entire region now is torn. I don't think so.
And no, I'm really supporting the president for what he's doing. After the election, this country was really, really divided.
Absolutely.
And it will be very wrong. When the president took over Kenya in 2013, he found this country united. It will be very wrong for him to leave it scattered. So whatever he's trying to bring Kenyans together, let us support him in doing that. And then we also have to look, let me tell you, we also have to look at the distribution of power. Most of the problems we get after election is about one man takes it all. Let me ask you, can't we just change our constitution? Can we just have, make it in a way that every tribe, we have 42 tribes in this country. everyone feels comfortable.
Okay.
Yeah, because if two people take, let's say now Akamba, yeah, Akamba and Kisii takes
that's
presidency.
left out.
So now it becomes about the Kambas and the Kisis.
All right, ladies, we really have to delve into page 8 and we're running out of time.
The biggest point of departure for these two people is that the president is saying that, can we hold campaigns for 2022, hold it for a while as we develop the country?
Yeah.
There's a point of departure there because the DP is very impatient. He wants to campaign from now, like elections is coming tomorrow. The second point of departure is that the president is saying Kenya is one, and as much as we are 42 tribes, we are one people, so we must be inclusive. The DP is saying, no, we won elections, so the tribes that won elections, or why the party that won elections, must be the ones that are enjoying like Kenyans, while the others watch.
Right.
So those two are the real points of departure.
Delve into this.
But let me just tell you, these
Gender
five
bill.
people, these five main leaders in this country, can unite this country or break it.
Okay.
And it is high time all of them put their egos aside and sat down to talk and think about the future of this country.
All right.
Let me just
They
tell
can
you
make
one
things
thing
better for us
Mombasa.
in 2022.
Okay.
We went to
we
Mombasa.
really need to get, I want
know.
to get your comments
and
on
I
this
just want
because
to
we're
show
running
you
out of time.
how this handshake is doing great things in this country.
Okay.
We went to Mombasa as Women Embrace. We had 1,320 women from all, from Wiper, from Jubilee, from ODM. The governor, and I want to thank the governor, came in. And when the women started pouring their hearts, you would feel that this has been a tension that has been so bitter that women from Jubilee, from Wiper, from ODM could not look at each other and even walk in the governor's office to get any services. But that Sunday, bringing even the former deputy governor who was vying as senator together with the governor, and now the women sing, indeed leaders are back together. How have we left Mombasa? Them understanding, and women understand more than even men, that indeed we need peace than any other.
Honorable Achi, as your closing remarks, anyone goes to court today and can petition for the dissolution of parliament because it's not constitutional.
And we need
and this is happening, it's all stories on page 8 of the Daily Nation. Which way now? As your closing remarks.
We need to.
This has it's been tried several times, it has failed several times. What next?
What I'll say is that our men in parliament have taken the courts as if it's a joke.
Men?
Yes, because the women are fighting, the men feel we don't need this.
That's not a fair statement. Some of the men were there, some of the women did not.
There were some
men voted for us,
whether
some women didn't vote.
Whether there was there. You know,
why is this a men issue now?
Well, the key leadership,
they are not happy about us
the key
sometimes and they
leadership
don't
are
vote.
men, isn't it? If you are really serious about a bill that you want to really appreciate what the courts have said, since I don't know, since Judge Mumbi's judgment to date, really, we repeat and the court comes and now the Court of Appeal is telling you this, you still feel it's a joke. It's time we disband, then people will realize, didn't we take our president to a nullification?
Parliament should just be dissolved?
No. But who are they? If our president was taken to a nullification,
who is parliament?
Who are they?
Okay.
So a government shutdown, then what?
There's no government shutdown.
If parliament is dissolved,
What is government shutdown?
But dissolve and you go for re-election.
In the new dispensation, by the way, that is where we go wrong, because the law is very clear, as it says. So it doesn't mean that it's a legislative arm on its own.
So
it has its own power.
We should let it hit rock bottom.
Hit rock, and the president will still run the country with
all right.
all
We're really running out of
and
time.
the counties are there.
Sylvia, your final comment.
When we take oath, to God, to the people of Kenya, and to the Constitution, we have to uphold that. Parliament has no choice. They have to uphold the Constitution. The judiciary, which is the third arm, has already ruled it. So what are we talking about here? Besides all that, we need women in leadership. It's a fact. How the women are going to be put there, that formula, let it be decided. Let our task force be formed and decide. But let there be more women in parliament. Women bring change. We've seen it.
So dissolve parliament as well?
If need be, yes, dissolve parliament. We have to respect the Constitution.
I think the gender issue was one of the dictates of the Constitution that was promulgated in 2010. And it is the only dictate that has not been realized or effected. And Parliament had the sole responsibility to legislate to ensure that it happens. And Parliament has failed in their duty. I think the judiciary has been very, very patient with Parliament, because each time they've given Parliament 60 days to ensure that they legislate on mechanism of how to achieve the gender issue. And even when we didn't meet the deadline of 60 days, they still kept on giving us time, until now, when Parliament did not manage to do it. Yeah. So as it stands, indeed as it stands, Parliament stands as it stands is unconstitutional, because we've not met the dictate of the Constitution. Okay. And right now, because the appeal has been thrown out by the courts, we are going to see a lot of movement again in Parliament, but just to make sure that Parliament is not dissolved. Yeah. But what it is a mechanism has to be found. Okay. Otherwise, we will be dissolved.
So dissolve Parliament as well.
We will be. For me, not dissolve Parliament, but obey the Constitution. Yeah, uphold the Constitution. Yes. Because you must uphold that Constitution.
No.
What I say, they can find a solution. Yeah. The courts have already ruled. So let Parliament go and find a formula. You see, we cannot afford to go for another election now. Okay. You know, we have too many problems. So why can these men and women just sit down and come out with a formula? All right. And we uphold the Constitution. And also men voted for the women bill in Parliament. So it's not just about a woman issue, because there are some women who didn't go to vote, but men came to Parliament to vote. All right. So let us always congratulate these men. For trying. They can only support us. Let me tell you, they can only support us sincerely. Unajua anapenda kubembelezwa. Tuwabembeleza tupatie the Constitution, not in that. But anyway, but no, I agree with Governor.
We tried that and it didn't work.
Okay. I agree with Governor.
We really have to close this discussion.
Sometimes if you want something, you really have to know how you beg.
I agree with Governor. Don't put women in a position where they always have to beg, plead with the male members of Parliament to uphold the Constitution.
I don't exactly mean that you go beg. Sometimes you have to calm down. It's not about begging. Sometimes you have to calm down to get what you want.
Ladies, we'll have this conversation of women in leadership another day, but our time is up. Beatrice Salachi, I can see you're about to comment. No, I will not allow it, because our time is really up. Ladies, thank you so much for being here. Honorable Wavinya Deti, Honorable Beatrice Salachi, Honorable Sylvia Kasanga. Good luck with the mental health bill. Please keep us up to date with that. Yes, and of course, Honorable Rosa Buyu. Ladies, thank you so much for your time this morning. All right, you're watching Daybreak. We want to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, Willis Oburu will dive into engagement today, so we'll get to see what it is that we'll be talking about. But first, a break.